We teach what we know, but we reproduce what we are. So if you're wanting to raise up some great leaders in your group, guess what? The first thing you need to do is be a great leader. Let me explain that to you. Let me just sit down for just a moment. At my age, it's a highlight. Let me just sit down for a moment and let's go back to the law of the lid. Remember when your lid was a 5, what was your company going to be? It was going to be a... Absolutely. The lid says you can't have a 6, you can't have a 7, you can't have an 8, you can't have a 9. You're a 5 leader. A 5 leader doesn't have 7s. A 5 leader doesn't have 8 companies. 5 leader doesn't have 9. 5 leaders have 4 companies. What kind of a person will you attract? If you're a 5 leader, you don't attract 6s, 7, 8, 9, 10. Can I tell you something? 8s don't want to follow 5. 8s go meet a 5 and they say, whoops, Mr. Magoo. So how do you attract better people? Lift your lid. If you're a 5, you get 4s, 3s, 2s, and 1s. If you're a 6, you get 5, 4s, 3s, 2s. If you're a 7, you get 6. If you're an 8, you got this. Stanford research says, just came from there. Stanford research says that 85% of everything you know, you learn visually. 85%. The reason I say that the first rule of 5 in leadership is leading yourself is because visual example is the most powerful leadership tool. Acts to cut down your tree. Trust me with that. James Allen said, people are anxious to improve their circumstances, but they're not anxious to improve themselves, and they therefore remain bound. The first person that you should teach leadership values to is you.
Some of the obstacles you're up against may seem like they have the upper hand. The sickness is bigger. You've had the addiction a long time. Feels like that trouble has you surrounded. But when it's your time, like with them, it's not going to leave gradually. It's not going to improve a little here, a little there. It's going to leave suddenly, like it's in a panic, like it's fleeing for its life. Well, Joel, this sounds encouraging, but I don't believe it's going to happen quickly for me. I've been dealing with this for a long time. You're right. It won't happen for you. This is for believers. This is for people that will let the seed take root. People that will dare say, God, I agree with what you said, that you will hasten your word to perform it. Lord, I believe for a quick work. I believe enemies are hurrying out of my way. I believe I'm going to see a rapid turnaround. A friend of mine worked for this company where his supervisor wasn't treating him right. He was jealous of him. My friend had a great attitude. I never heard him complain. He just kept doing the right thing, even though this supervisor would try to discredit him and make him look bad. This went on for several years. The supervisor was in his early 40s, been with the company almost 20 years. Looked like my friend would always have to deal with this. But one Monday morning, he went to work. The owner of the company called my friend in and said that the supervisor was leaving and this owner wanted him to have his position. My friend asked, when was this going to happen? When was he going to leave? The owner said, he left last Friday. You're the supervisor starting right now. God knows how to cause people to hurry out of your way, to do things quickly, things that you didn't see coming. That supervisor could have been there another 30 years, but he suddenly left. Quit worrying about who's in front of you and how it's never going to work out. God can quickly change things, quickly promote you, quickly heal you, quickly free you. And yes, I know some things take time. We have to outlast what's coming against us. But you're going to come into these moments where God does a quick work. Now, instead of complaining, well, Joel, I don't know about for me. I don't think I'll ever get well. I'll never meet the right person. Don't turn it around. Father, thank you that my health is about to suddenly improve. Thank you that this addiction is not permanent. It's about to quickly turn around. Thank you that this depression is not how my story ends. It's about to hurry out of my way. That's not just being positive. That's releasing your faith. That's what allows God to speed things up.
Pliability is an indication of experience. When you've been through enough, you become pliable. You become adaptable. You become relatable. When you've been through enough, you know how to rock with it, and you know how to roll with it, and you know how to shift with it. When you've been through enough, and enough has passed through you, you've changed in your composite that you might look like dirt, but you're pliable. Somebody somebody write on the timeline, I'm pliable. I know how to abase and abound. I'm in season and out of season. I know how to survive good times and bad times. I know how to work with whatever's thrown at me. I can make it through the winter and I can make it through a hot summer. I'm pliable. If it rains, I got a raincoat. If it's hot, I'll take it all. I know how to be pliable. Whatever season I'm in, I can be content because I'm not just dirt, I'm clay. This is the silent sermons of God. Can I preach this morning? I got up out the bed this morning to bring you a word this morning. I got out of the bed to impart unto you that if enough has passed over you, and enough has been planted in you, and enough has withered around you, it has affected your ability to develop the elasticity that it takes to be a survivor. Let me hear from my survivors. I want to hear from my survivors. Oh, no. I don't want to hear from the saints. I want to hear from the survivors. The saints can talk later. I want to hear from the survivors. A lot has passed over you, and you're still here. Survivors, make some noise. Yes. And so I thought I would start this sermon by talking about the potter's hand. For the potter's hand has reached down into the ground and extracted from the dirt the clay he thought most useful. And the reason I want you to see this image of the stooping potter is that when Jeremiah is looking at the potter stooping down into the ground to pull up the clay, my mind went back to God.
The thing is, I was raised in a culture of the quiet professional, and we don't talk about what we do. And so that book, obviously I was writing a book with my brother Leif Babin, and we talked about that for a long time before we actually said, okay, let's do it. And what we knew that we needed to do was, number one, represent the SEAL teams the way that we thought they and knew they should be represented, and also make sure that we point out that the SEAL teams are just one military organization of all the military who are out there risking their lives and making incredible sacrifices for this nation and for our freedom. And so we wrote heavily about the forces in the soldiers and Marines that we worked alongside of in the Battle of Ramadi. And I think the other piece is, from my brothers that are still in the SEAL teams, when they started reading the book, and the reason that I think it's accepted by within the SEAL community is because we didn't try and make ourselves out to be something that we weren't. The guy that's in that book that's me. That's what I was like when I was in the SEAL team. That's what I was like now. I didn't embellish anything and you've read the book. The book is not about how great I was. The book is actually, a lot of it is actually about mistakes that I made and what I learned from it, and what mistakes Leif made and what he learned from them. And so that's why I think there was a little fear with that book in how my brothers in the SEAL teams would react to it. But once guys started reading it, the feedback was awesome. And so for the kids book, I did no fear at all. None. I'm writing what I want, and I know that kids out there need it. And Discipline Equals Freedom, same thing. I'm doing what I want, and I'm putting word out there for people to the best of my ability to try and help them sort themselves out and move further along in their lives. And it's through lessons that I've learned, because I've been, I'm far from perfect. And it's the same thing with my podcast. My podcast is what I want to talk about, and people have given me all kinds of advice since the beginning on what I should do and shouldn't do. And I always listen to people's advice, but I go with my gut of what I want to talk about, what people I want to talk to, what events in history I want to cover. There's been people tell me, don't make it too long, bring on guests so you're not the only voice, and don't talk about all this violence and horrible things. And if you listen to my podcast, it's very long. There's not many guests, and I talk about some pretty awful and horrendous things that have happened in the world. So I'm not afraid of doing what I'm doing, because I think I'm doing it for the right reasons.
Could, should, won't. Could, should, don't. It's called disaster. Now, how do you change all that? The next 6 years, I got rich. The next 6 years, I became a millionaire. By the time I'm 31, I'm a millionaire. How about that? You say, well, Mr. Rohn, what happened? Well, strangely enough, during that second 6 years of my economic life, the government was about the same. I'm telling you, taxes were about the same. My negative relatives were the same. I'm telling you, the economy was about the same, and prices were about the same, and everything else was about the same. Circumstances were about the same. Then how come I got rich? How come I totally changed my life? I was not the same. Somebody says, well, what did you go to work on to do all that? I started with my philosophy. I started amending my errors by doing some better thinking, changing my mind, coming up with ideas that I didn't have before I met my... And once that whole process started for me, I'm telling you, I changed my whole life. Within a 6-year period, I was never the same. And I've kept up that process all these. One of the reasons why I'm here is to continue my craft. I don't want the day to come someday somebody says, you should have heard Jim Rohn 10 years ago when he was really terrific. Guess what I want people to say? I heard him 10 years ago, but you should hear him now. I'm telling you, the man works on his craft. I'm telling you, the man's done some extra reading. I'm telling you, the man doesn't miss a trick. I'm telling you, he's worked hard on himself. That's why he's able to deliver. Like the same thing can happen for you as a teenager. It can happen to you as a mother, as a father, as a business person, as a salesperson, running a business. It doesn't matter. Management, wherever you find yourself. This is the process called personal change. What I say, start with your own philosophy. Your philosophy is going to determine whether or not you go for the disciplines or continue the errors that's called potential discipline. And everybody has it within their power. Well, it was so happy for me to find out at age 25, Mr. Shope said to Rohn, you don't have to change country, but you do have to change philosophy. And if you'll change philosophy, not country, you can turn around your income, you turn around your bank account, you turn around your skills, you can become capable, powerful, sophisticated, healthy, influential, all the other equities that you could possibly want out of your life, using the only stuff there is and not trying to change any of this stuff. Appreciate all of this stuff with all of its ups and downs, with all of its mystery of why it works and sometimes it doesn't work. Don't challenge this. You don't have to ask for another planet. You don't have to ask for another country. Just ask for another book. Ask for another seminar. Ask for another idea. You can start this whole prosperous life. Now, I could spend the whole day on philosophy. That's where it is. If I could get you intrigued with that enough to study it, enough to ponder it, to where you would pick up a commitment like I did and say, hey, as simple as an apple a day, as simple as a walk around the block, why not start right there? If you don't start there, where else are you going to start? Might as well start where it's easy. Then go to the more complicated. Because if you can't handle the complicated, the simple disciplines, how can you handle the complicated philosophy? Here's number. I got to give these now very quickly. I got to cover linger. Number one, we're affected by philosophy. First major of the 5 major. Number 2 is attitude. We're affected by how we feel. First, we're affected by what we know and decisions we make. Second, we're affected by attitude, how we feel. And I gave that quick list. Let me give it to you. It's how you feel about the past. Got to have a good attitude about the past. Use it as a school, not a club. Don't beat yourself to death with your past. Faults, failures, losses. Let the past be a school. Harsh school, maybe. What else new? Let the past be a school master to teach, not to threaten you, but teach. Next is how you feel about the set your goal. Talk a little bit about that before we finish. Goal setting. Promise of the future is an awful to affect your life. Without a future well designed, we take hesitant. All you have to have is hesitant steps for 6 years. Timid, driven into a corner, not boldly willing to go. Take your portion, take your... Next, how you feel about everybody else. Got to have a good attitude about everybody else. It takes everybody else to make a market. One person doesn't make a family. One person doesn't make a business. One person doesn't make a corporation. One person doesn't make a community. One person doesn't make a nation. It takes all of us to make a dynamic economy, a nation second to none. It takes all of us to make the economy run. It takes all of us to make the possibility. All the gifts that have flowed in here the last 200 years, unprecedented in 6,500 years of recorded. There's been nothing like it. The ethnic streams that have flowed in here brought their gifts, brought their talent, brought their skills, brought their inventions, brought their work ethic. All of it mixed together is called America. Been nothing like it in 6,500. And to miss the value of it by some, warped attitude about it, I'm telling you, you've missed it all. If you have an appreciation for it all, you'll draw from it. And if you draw from all the gifts that have been blended together here for 200 years, now for your value and benefit, think of what you can do for your days, for your business, for your conversation, for your equity. Transform it to an incredible. And here's the last, it's how you feel about you. Understanding self-worth, bro. Self-worth should be easy. If one of us can do it, all of us. If anybody can think it, we all can think it.
Tom Brady, guys, is equanimity at its finest. He's also not the most athletic, but when it matters most, 3rd and 8, do you know what his 3rd down conversion rate is like as a quarterback? People don't understand quarterbacks. 3rd and long, there's nobody in the history of football even remotely close. Not the big drive, he's great at that too. It's the little parts of the game where you go, Rodgers, no offense to you Packers fans, it's 3rd and 11, and he audibles out of the right play, audibles into the wrong play, and you're off the field. You don't know why you lose the NFC Championship. The other guy gets up there 3rd and 11, audibles into the right play, and converts equanimity under duress, the separator. It's invisible. No one sees it. No one knows knows what it is. It's the difference. So you need equanimity. Y'all with me on that? Say yes. You also need the power of one more. I'm writing a book right now that I really do believe is going to change the world called The Life-Changing Power of One More. There's a lot of different things I could say to you about doing one more rep in the gym, making one more phone call a day and stacking all that up, being a one more thinker. That's changed my life. I'm a one more thinker. I also get 3 days in one day. So I'm going to give you 2 gifts here. Number 1, power of one more. If you add a one more multiplier to your organization, it will change everything. Maxwell calls it the law of the catalyst. You can't just be recruiting. You have to be looking for that one more special multiplier catalyst. I call it a rabbit. Someone that joins your team, they set the pace, they set the culture, they set the intensity level. In every company I own, which is 23 of them right now, I am looking for one more multiplier, Pete. Brady is a one more multiplier. Let me explain to you. Not just how he works, but it's how he works. It's not how, there's this legendary story going around the last few weeks that during Super Bowl week, Brady's up watching film at 1:30 in the morning, and he's texting the wide receivers at 1:30 in the morning saying, hey, 3rd and short, you can't run this route against this DB. 3rd and 8, this route works against him. Hey, 2nd and short, you can work this route against this DB, but if it's 2nd and long, you can't run this route against him. The level of precision and specificity that he brings to the organization that nobody else understands changes it, but he's a one more multiplier. So is LeBron James. Let me explain to you. When you add a one more multiplier, they infectiously help you magnetize and attract other people like to your organization. You don't know why. I can't explain why. I think it's a vibrational frequency thing. But when I add these players, like if you added me to your team, you added me, you recruited me right now, I promise you within 6 or 7 months, there's 4 or 5 mini-me's around that were never there. But do you know that all 3 touchdowns in the Super Bowl were scored by dudes that weren't on the team last year that Brady recruited personally? They get Brady, Gronk, AB, and Fournette all came there because of Brady. One more players that join your team are multipliers for your organization. You can't just look to add people. You can't look to add vanilla generic humans. You need to be looking for one more multipliers. And when you're recruiting and messaging, say it. Because guys like me, when I'm sitting in front of an interview with me, say, let me tell you what I'm really looking for. I'm looking for leaders. I'm looking for dominators. I'm looking for people who want to be somebody. When you say that word to me, you're speaking my love language.
Look, if you start hustling and grinding, he'll fill it up for you. But if you ain't got no hustle and no grind, he can't fill it up. So guess what? I don't ever go there to use that land for fishing or not. But I'm changing boys' lives over there. But on top of all that, you know how many houses he done gave me? This, I'm telling you about God. Remember what I told you when I first started? Every statement I sound, when it sound like I'm talking about myself. Remember I said, say, cost God. You know how many houses I got now? They count them up. 6 to bruh, 6, 12. No, I ain't got that many houses. But the point I'm making to y'all, you have because you ask. See, I'm giving you stuff you can do. You can talk to people all day. They got video out right now. You can go online, $39.95, how to buy a house with no money down. If you stupid enough, think you can go buy a house with no money down, go ahead. You might can get it with no money down, but at closing, my story really a story about, really is, come out the dirt. I have no college, all of my children. I got 7 there left, got boys, 2 boys come out of Morehouse. I got a daughter that come out of Spelman in Berkeley. I got 2 daughters went to Hampton, and then graduated from Ohio State. I made sure all my kids went to college, because I know they got to have it. But Daddy, you didn't go to college, but your ass ain't got no... Slipped again, I'm sorry. That came, I ain't even know that got out there. I threw that one out there and I felt pretty good. I said, why is they laughing like that? It's been important for me to empower my children, but not only my children, thousands of young people across the country. And education is the key for it. When I say college, tell nothing, not your education, it's your dream. So what you dream about, what you still dream, what is God still showing nation?
It's hard, and it's not fair. One of the things I like about T. Harvey is he talks about work and investing in yourself. It's not fair when people are going up against that kind of stuff to tell them just think positive and be enthusiastic and everything will work out all right. Ain't that kind of party? It's hard. Life will put some knots on your head. I bought my first home for my mother. I was rushing, didn't know what I was doing, and I bought a home that had a lien against it. And they called me, Mr. Brown, yes, there's a lien against your property. We need $55,000 if you're going to stay there. Wait a minute, sir. I just bought this home. The guy told me there were no liens against it. I'm not the one that owe you the money. You should have checked that out, Mr. Brown. Come on. I called my attorney. We followed up. Yes, Les, there's a lien against the property. But he told me there were no liens. He lied, obviously. Oh, my God. He told me he wanted to help me because he admired the fact that I was buying this home for my my mother and that he was adopted and he identified with me. Les, he suckered you. He played you, man. So what, well, would they take payment arrangements? What about $5,000 a month? They want all the money, Les. They want all the money, or you're going to have to get out. The house is going up for sheriff's sale. Do you have it? No, I don't have them. Can they give me some time? Tell them to give me 3 months, please. Give me 3 months. My mother's in her 70s, man. She has a bad heart. Don't do this to me. This is my dream. Don't do this, man. Please, let me talk to them. Les, I'm talking to their attorney. They don't want to talk to you. I've got to talk to their attorneys. Do you have the money? No. Will they give me 3 months? No. What about 2 months? No, Les. They want the money in 7 days. Oh, my God. Let me call you back. I'm not sure. And I walked the floors thinking, God, how could this happen? I got to figure this out, I got to figure this out. It seemed like the days were just ticking off. Thursday, I had to call them and let them know. They called me, Les, do you have the money? No, I don't. Friday, you have to leave. The sheriff will be there. You'll have to leave, Les. They're going to take my house. What about my down payment? You lost it, Les. You lost it. Okay, I got to go. Yes. I prayed, Lord, please. If you show me that you're real, if you're really real, you think Paul worked for you, you haven't seen anything. Don't let me lose this house and watch what I'll do for you. I was trying to cut a deal. Have you ever tried to cut a deal? It's amazing how spiritual you get when you get in trouble. You know what I mean? When I was diagnosed with prostate cancer, I was going to bed with the Bible and the Holy Quran and Science of Mind and Joel Goldsmith, everything I could find. I was praying to Jesus, Yahweh, Melchizedek, everybody. I was calling on everybody. It's amazing. And here I was walking the floor 3 o'clock in the morning, and I had to go and wake my mother up. I got on my knees and I said, Mama, I need you to wake up. She said, what's wrong, Leslie? I can hear you walking back and forth. I'm not asleep, son. I said, there's something I need to tell you. She said, your eyes are red. Why are your eyes red? Because I feel so stupid now. Why? We got to move tomorrow. Why, Leslie? There's a lien against the property and they want $55,000 and I don't have it. And we're going to be set out tomorrow. We have to go back to Liberty City. So she said, it's okay. I don't like this house anyhow. I said, why? She said, because of my arthritic knees. It hurts my knees when I go up the steps. I said, and why didn't you tell me? Because you were so happy. I just said it because you were happy. I'll live in a shack with you, boy. I love you. It's not the house. I love you. I love all my children. I said, thank you, Mama. Thank you.
Hi, welcome back to Mind Control.
Most of us lower our standards. Why? Because who you spend time with, my friends, is who you become. Quality of your life is the quality of where you live emotionally. Like, we all have a home. Angry people find a way to get angry, even if their life doesn't have anything to be angry about. We can always find it. Sad people find a way to be sad. Caring people find a way to care for other people. So one thing you got to identify is, where are you living? What's your home? What's your habit? And then the way to change it is that when I was homeless, literally on my own, just getting started, I didn't have the internet, but I decided I had to go to a library and I had to feed my mind. And I always tell people the first stage is, weeds grow automatically. One of my teachers taught me, he said, every day stand guard at the door of your mind and feed it something good. Because if your worst enemy puts sugar in your coffee here, you're fine. If your best friend by accident trying to help you puts some strychnine, you're dead. So if you feed your mind every day, 30 minutes a day of reading something, hearing something. Second, you got to strengthen your body. And the reason, Pierce, is fear is physical, right? So is stagnation, so is numbness, so is sadness, so is rage. And when you go in and change your body by an intense workout or a run or even an intense walk and the blood's flowing through you, science has shown it instantly changes your biochemistry. And now your mind and body are working together. Third thing, all these people did in common, if you watch, they found a mission bigger than themselves. Yeah. Something that they want to aspire to that was worth more than their pain. And then the fourth thing is, you got to find a role model. You heard it with Nick. Almost everybody finds a role model that makes it real. Yeah. When you get a role model, it becomes real to you if you get a plan, you get a goal plan, and you take massive action. And the last step, number 5, there's always somebody worse off than you are. I don't care what you've done. So if you can go help somebody worse off, it puts your life in perspective, and it also reminds you life's not about me, it's about we. I always tell people, the secret to a great life, the secret to living is giving. And when you realize there's something in you still to give, even if you lost your legs, even if you've been through a horrific financial situation, your life can improve, but more importantly, you'll have a meaningful life because your life will contribute to other people.
Decide to develop the habit right now, the habit of focusing on what's right in your world instead of what's wrong. The habit of focusing on what you do have instead of what you don't have in a situation. And as basic as that is, and as well as you know it, you've got to make it a habit. Because those habits form the chain of your ultimate character, of who you become and how you end up living your life. We've got to condition ourselves, because if we don't, we'll go back to the automatic state that most people live in today's society. The way to develop the habit is to go on a mental diet. It's that you immediately do not allow yourself to hold a negative feeling, a negative thought for 7 straight days, day and night, even when it gets tough, even when somebody disappoints you, even when you get frustrated, even when you give your all and it still turns up lousy. Listen, if all I did was rant and rave on this tape and you didn't listen to anything else I said, but you took on this 7-day challenge, you can't believe what it'll do to your life.
If you get yourself in a state of certainty that this is going to work, I'm going to find a way, and if this doesn't work, I will make the way, then you tap a lot more potential. And when you're certain in your potential, you take massive action. When you take massive action, you really believe in something, you get great results. When you get great results, your brain goes, see, I told you I was a stud. People tell me all the time, oh, I'm skeptical or I'm pessimistic. I said, no, you're gutless. It takes no guts, it takes no courage to be a pessimist, to say it's not going to work, to try to find out what's wrong. What's wrong is always available. It's also what's right. So I'm not into positive thinking, but I am into intelligence. And intelligence says, see it as it is, don't make it worse than it is. The only way it gets better is if you can see it as it is. Don't make it worse than it is. Don't try to make it so it's impossible to change. That's not true. It's not true at all. The second mandate, I think, to changing anything in your life, to leading your life, is once you see it as it is, not worse than it is, then you got to see it better than it is. Because that's the thing that's missing from most relationships. There's no vision. I mean, without a vision, people what? Perish. And when a relationship has no vision for greater than where they are, that relationship is going downhill, if not destroyed. I believe that every relationship, every part of life, every part of a human being needs a compelling future. If the future's not more compelling than today could be tough, but if the future's compelling, we can get there. So just to remind you, first thing you got to do is feed and strengthen that mind. Read, listen, feed the mind, take control of that focus, stand guard at what other people are saying, focus on what it is you're here to give, what you can control, what you can make happen. Number 2, feed and strengthen that body. Remember, fear, uncertainty, they're physical experiences. So the best way to deal with something physical is to get physical. Change that body. Go lift some weights. Go for that run. Do something that's going to get you in that state. But get that hour of power going, that 15 minutes to thrive, if you're familiar with that, to train your body and mind to be strong again. Number 3, make sure you put yourself in that position where you find a role model that's going to inspire you and show you that way. Maybe it's a contrasting role model. You think your life's so tough, Find somebody with tougher who's really turned it around. Or maybe it's just somebody who's really succeeded, that you can now see there is a way. There's a way through. There's a way to make this happen, even in the toughest times. There's always a way. 4, make sure you get yourself into action. Get a plan, take massive action. And then number 5, most importantly of all of them, feed your spirit. Feed and strengthen your spirit. And there's only one way to do that. It's to find what you're grateful for and to take time, whether it be prayer for you or just taking a moment to think about what it is that's so lucky in your life. There's a rejuvenation in our spirit when we stop taking things for granted. And when most importantly, what feeds your spirit is to give. To find a way to do something for someone else who's worse off than you are. Because what is this all about? It's about strength, and it's about perspective, it's about action, it's about emotion, and it's about heart. And so many people, miss the opportunity to feel like their life makes a difference. I'm a big believer that motive does matter. That why you do something, people can feel. That people may be skeptical, they may have their judgments or their fears because they've been through so much, but in my experience, ultimately, why you're doing something, people feel. And if you're doing this because some part of you knows that you're here in life not just to get, but to give, then there's a spark that happens in other people because they feel the genuineness of that, and there's a spark that happens in you because it reminds you what you're made for.
You know why kids love athletes? Kids love athletes because they follow their dreams. How much did they first pay you to give up on your dreams? And when were you going to stop and come back and do what makes you happy? I see guys who work at the same company for their entire lives. They clock in, they clock out, and they never have a moment of happiness. You have an opportunity. This is a rebirth. I'm a wake-up call.
Maybe you here because you need to hear this here. Maybe you here because you need to dust off your dreams. Maybe you need to explore your imagination. Maybe you just need to identify your gift so you can quit tripping in your own life, trying to figure out what you can do when God already planted inside you a long time ago.
Remember your dream. All of us have things that we're believing for, something that we want to accomplish. Deep down, we know it's a part of our destiny. We can feel it so strongly. But then we hit some setbacks. We didn't get the promotion. The medical report wasn't good. Or a relationship didn't work out. Life has a way of pushing our dreams down. They can become buried under discouragement, buried under past mistakes. There are dreams buried under divorce, buried under low self-esteem. It's easy to settle for mediocrity even though we have all this potential buried on the inside. Your dream may be buried. The good news is it's still alive. It's not too late to see it come to pass. We've all been through disappointments and setbacks. Life happens. But instead of remembering the hurt, the pain, what didn't work out, the key to reaching your destiny is you have to remember your dream.
Imagine, if you will, being on your deathbed and standing around your bed, the ghosts of the dreams, the ideas, the abilities, the gifts given to you by life, but you, for whatever reason, you never pursued those dreams. You never used those gifts. You never used those talents and those abilities. You never wrote that book. We never heard from your leadership. And there they are standing around your bed, looking at you with large, angry eyes, saying, "We came to you. Only you could have given us life, and now we must die with you forever." And the question becomes, if you died today, what dreams, what ideas, what abilities, what gifts, what talents would die with you? Maybe that's why one woman said, "Oh God, to reach the point of death, only to realize that you've never lived." Maybe that's why Henry David Thoreau said, "Oh God, to reach the point of death,
to realize that you've never used all your potential, all of the things that had been instilled in you.
Look, man, identify that God-given gift and get to pursuing it. I had a partner. When we was growing up, all he did was cut grass. I'm talking about he cut grass every day. $2 for the front, $2 in the back. But boy, this boy was talented. He had one of them push lawn mowers with the single blade on it. He was so good, he could take the blade, lower it, and raise it. He could cut patterns in your yard with a push lawnmower. He could put your initials in your grass. You know how big that was in the hood? You get a W in your damn yard. This boy was $2 for the front, $2 for the back. He didn't go play with us nowhere. We going to the swimming pool. Now, man, I got to cut Miss Jackson grass. Hey, man, we going to go to the little school dance. Now, I got to get up in the Maryland. I got to cut Miss Stanley yard. We used to laugh at it. A grass cutter, grass cutter. This boy today in Cleveland, Ohio, he got a landscaping company. You know how much this dude grosses every year? $4 million. $4 million. You know what he do? He cut grass. He got 38 trucks on the road. He got every contract in the city, every office building, every mall. He cut grass. He cut the grass so good when it snowed in Cleveland, he put plows on the front of all 38 of them trucks. He got all the snow removal contract. This boy make $4 million. You know what he do? He cut grass. He cut grass.
You may not understand why a business didn't make it, why a person walked away, why you came down with an illness. You were doing the right thing, but the wrong thing happened. It's all a part of the process. What did you used to be excited about? Now you think it's been too long, it's too big, it's not possible. You don't think you could write the book, finish school, see a marriage restored, start the business. No, get your passion back. You have not missed your opportunity. You have not had too many bad breaks. You're not lacking. You didn't get shortchanged. People can't stop you. Bad breaks, disappointments, loss. There are seeds of greatness in you right now. Dreams so big that you can't accomplish them on your own.
As you think about your goals and dreams, not only is it possible, not only must you decide that it's necessary, that it's a non-negotiable, you have the ability to do more than you could ever begin to imagine. But when we live in a world where we're told more about our limitations rather than our potential, when we look at our environment and the people and the conversations that we're exposed to early on, we begin to form a limited vision of what's possible for us. And so as you think about your goals and dreams, here's what I can share with you because of what I've gone through, and you know this to be true. Changing your life is hard.
Why pay the price? Why work this hard? Why go this far? Why try to learn this much? Why try to do it all? Why try to see it all? Why try to have it all? Why do it? Why learn it? Why study? Why put yourself out? Why try to take on this much responsibility? Why develop yourself to the full? Why try to become all that you can possibly become? Why try to earn as much as you can earn, share as much as you can share, develop every skill you possibly can, see every human you possibly can, go to every class you possibly can, touch everybody you possibly can? Why do that much? Why go that far? Why share that much? Why give that much away? Why try to see everything? Why try to do everything? Why try to become everything? That's a good question, why? And you're the only one personally that can answer that question for yourself. You've got to have your own list of whys. Here's what I want you to do when you go home after you've left this extravaganza. Work on your list of whys. One of the big thrusts for success is to come up with a strong enough why. In leadership training, here's what we learn. If the why is powerful, the how is easy. But if the why isn't strong, if your goals aren't powerful, if the vision isn't clear, the old prophet said, without a vision we die, without a vision we perish, without a dream we're nothing. From the movie The Professionals, I listened to Bill Heron give his testimony yesterday. From the movie The Professionals, it said, we joined because we believed. We stayed because we were committed. We left because we were disillusioned. But we came back because we were lost. Without a dream, we are nothing.
Thank you so much for watching till the end. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Please also like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends and families. Please watch our other motivational videos. Thank you again.